All right, welcome to The Explainer. So, today we are diving deep into the real, often overlooked secret to getting truly amazing sleep. And look, it's not what you think. It's not about willpower, and it's not about the latest gadget. It's something much, much more fundamental.
So, does this sound familiar to you? I mean, you've done everything right, haven't you? You got the blackout curtains, the strict bedtime, no screens an hour before bed, and yet you still wake up feeling completely wiped out. It's an incredibly common frustration, and it points to something much deeper that most sleep advice just completely misses.
And that brings us to this idea right here, which is really the heart of our explainer today. Because what if the key to sleeping better isn't about more effort? What if, and this is the crazy part, trying harder is actually part of the problem? So let's just call this what it is, the willpower trap. It's this belief that, if you just had a little more discipline, you'd finally get that perfect night's sleep. But as we're about to find out, sleep isn't a matter of mental strength at all. It's all about biology. Okay, so first things first, we have got to completely rethink what sleep even is. It's not this passive state where your brain just powers down for 8 hours. Far from it. Think of it more like an active, super important system maintenance period for your brain. It is busy. So, what's actually happening on this night shift? Well, while you're completely out of it, your brain is running all these critical programs to repair, to clean, and just recalibrate itself for the next day. And look at these 5 jobs. Every single one is absolutely crucial for you to feel human the next day, right? To feel refreshed and sharp. But here's the one thing they all have in common. None of them run on willpower. They are all physical, chemical processes. We're talking pure biochemistry in action. And that right there is the linchpin. Because if all this work is biochemical, that means it needs raw materials, right? It needs building blocks. And where on earth do those come from? Well, they come from the food you eat. And this is the connection we almost always ignore. So yeah, let's talk about food. This is the missing ingredient we've been looking for. We're going to see exactly how your diet directly provides the fuel and the building blocks for the 2 main stages of sleep, because each one has a very different job to do. Okay, so your brain basically has 2 big jobs at night, deep sleep and REM sleep. You can think of deep sleep as the physical maintenance crew, cleaning house, making repairs. Then you've got REM sleep, which is more like the mind's librarian, sorting through your thoughts, filing away memories. And guess what? Both of these jobs are totally dependent on your nutrition. All right, let's zoom in on deep sleep for a second. This is literally your brain's janitorial service. There's this amazing system called the glymphatic system that kicks into gear, and its whole job is to wash out all the metabolic junk from your brain, including some really nasty proteins linked to neurodegeneration. But here's the problem. That whole cleaning process, it can be totally sabotaged. When you eat a lot of ultra-processed foods, they create inflammation, which makes the membranes of your brain cells all stiff and rigid. And what does that do? It obstructs the flow of that cleaning fluid, which means waste removal just grinds to a halt. It's like the janitors can't even do their job properly. Okay, now let's switch gears to the other big phase, REM sleep. This is dream time. It's when you consolidate your memories, process your emotions. But, and this is a big but, unlike deep sleep, this phase uses a ton of energy. Your brain is firing on all cylinders, almost like you're awake. And because it needs so much energy, REM sleep is super vulnerable to any kind of metabolic chaos. So when your diet is creating what we could call metabolic noise, big blood sugar spikes from junk food, it can literally shorten this critical phase. It just cuts it off, robbing you of that essential mental and emotional reset. All right, so let's zoom out a little bit, because this is bigger than just raw materials. Your food is actively talking to your brain. It's having a conversation with it all night long. And here's the kicker. Sometimes those food signals are so loud, they just drown out everything else you're trying to do to get good sleep. So, your sleep is run by these internal biological clocks, right? And these clocks control your sleep hormones. But here is the absolute key. They don't just run on light from the sun. They're incredibly sensitive to the chemistry of your blood, and that chemistry is decided by your food. I mean, we all get this, right? Getting sunlight in the morning is like a big, powerful signal to your brain's clock that says, hey, it's daytime, time to be awake. It's a fundamental cue from our environment.
But then, what about this? That late-night donut is sending a chemical signal that is basically screaming, wake up, fuel is here, to your metabolism. And that signal can completely contradict the fact that it's dark outside, totally confusing your internal clocks and just wrecking your ability to fall and stay asleep.
And it gets even more direct than that. Think about the actual chemical messengers, the neurotransmitters that run the sleep show. Serotonin, melatonin, GABA. These things aren't just made out of thin air. They are literally built from the parts in your diet, from amino acids, vitamins, and minerals. If you don't have the building blocks, you can't make the messengers. It's that simple.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. The real foundation of restorative sleep. It's not your fancy mattress, it's not your eye mask, and it's definitely not your discipline. The real foundation, it's what's on your plate.
And if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. You just cannot hack your way to good sleep with all the external tricks if the internal biochemical foundation is crumbling. It's like trying to build a house on quicksand. If your brain doesn't have the right materials to work with, nothing else is going to work effectively. So maybe we should think about it like this. Sleep isn't an action you take. It's the result. It's the outcome of a day-long metabolic conversation happening between your brain, your body, and the food you gave it. The quality of that conversation, that's what decides the quality of your sleep.
And that really leaves us with this final powerful idea. If you truly want to transform your sleep, you have to stop obsessing over bedtime. The real work, the important work, starts way, way earlier. It really does start on your plate.